It's really early. Actually, I was up really late, so I'm just sleepy. It seems like there's a bunch of people who need a simple set of instructions in order to function every day. These are things that everybody should already know by the time they're 10, but they weren't taught it. And that's self-regulation. If you are told that your feelings aren't important, if you're told to feel something differently than what you're feeling, if you're told to get out of the room when you're explaining your feelings, if you were never able to tell your caretakers how you felt without judgment, ridicule, those are the worst, rejection, if those things were happening to you as you were growing up, you weren't allowed to you weren't taught how to self-regulate your emotions. You bottle them up. You also don't think that you're worthy of telling anybody how you feel. So you just suffer quietly. And it's a disservice that there's people that knew about this and didn't tell anybody, so I kind of want to tell the public. Self-regulation is... Okay, so remember when we were talking about being in the vagus nerve, when you get all vagal? We're always all vagal, because that's what we are. We're vagal beings. So you're up and safe and social, you're having a good old time. And you're down in fight or flight, fighting here, flight here. And then there's shutdown. And shutdown is a really hard one to get someone out of. Shutdown is a difficult phase, a difficult stage that a person's in. And I've got to be honest, yesterday, I recognized my 10-year-old. She had spent the day before drawing in her bed, kept saying that she liked it, it was okay, everything was good. And the next day, she wanted to do it kind of again, and then started to retreat into herself and was doing that very posture where you're balled up and you're just sitting there staring straight ahead, not really doing anything. And I said, hey, look, I can tell that you're not feeling good. Do you want to come and sit with me and talk? And we sat and talked for a good hour. And we got down to the bottom of it. She wasn't feeling valued by her sisters. She's not being cherished. She was being overlooked. She was being rejected and neglected. And sisters and brothers have that effect too. And as the parent here, I have, a whole bunch of other responsibilities. And I wasn't able to jump on the aware wagon fast enough to stop it before she got down into shutdown, but it did take a long time to get her to come on out of that. We just cuddled for a while, and I just sat there and listened, and I said a couple of times, if you want to talk about anything, we can talk about whatever you feel like. And then she wouldn't have anything to say. And then she would, and then I would listen, and then we would talk a bit. And it's really difficult, the not judging thing. When your kid says, I feel like killing your other kid, you're just like, no, you're not going to do that, But that's taking it personally, and that's judging it. You can't do that. They're allowed to say their feelings. Having feelings does not mean, hey, judge me. It means, this is how I feel. I feel this badly. And yeah, self-regulation is recognizing when you yourself are in fight or flight or down and shut down. So that's something that we need to teach our children. We need to start learning how to recognize the signs of dropping out of safe and social. So a lot of us already are dropped out of safe and social, and it's difficult for us to regulate ourselves, let alone regulate another, but it's our job. So I suggest you take a look on self-regulation, do a Google search, learn some tips and strategies. These are simple to do. Once you start doing them, your brain, it starts to reroute, and sometimes you'll find yourself doing the old ruts again, and you just drive yourself up and out and then follow the right paths. And don't judge yourself so harshly. If you screw up, go talk to your kids. Point out exactly what you did that sucked and that you did wrong, and tell them, hey, it's just proof I'm growing up with you, or I'm also having to learn this lesson with you, or grown-ups mess up too. See, I messed up and I'm sorry, and I'm going to try harder next time. I hopefully will catch it before, not long after. I hopefully will be able to parent you the right way. Yeah, so I feel that that is a missing piece in a parent's role. We think that we need to teach our kids the facts of life. Well, learning about sex, yeah, I guess that's important because I guess you need to know what not to do in order to make children. But, there's other things we need to teach them. We need to teach them about self-pleasure. We need to teach them about, or just somewhat give them no guilt about the fact that they like to touch their bodies and explore themselves, because that's totally normal. So just let them. But the other part is, like, teach them how to self-regulate their feelings. Kids need to sit with their feelings and feel them through. It needs to happen. They can't just shove those feelings down just because it's uncomfortable for somebody. They need to let loose. They need to learn how to cry it out. They need to learn how to feel it. Online, I'm seeing a lot of not complaints, well, complaints and cries for help from people who are completely at a loss for how to feel these feelings. They don't know what to do with their feelings. They think that if they feel their feelings any longer, they're going to die. And that's exactly where you need to be. Feel those feelings. Feel like you're going to die. You won't. You won't die. It hurts, yeah. But you got to feel them out. Just like a bad cough. You got a bad cough, you got a tickle in your throat. Somebody's looking at you and you're not going to want to cough in public, but it's going to come out sooner or later. So you should just do it when it's there. Otherwise, it's going to come out uncontrollable. These bodies are amazing, and when they want something done, they're going to make symptoms alerting us that we're not doing that something. Like, you might get a migraine because you're not drinking enough fluids, not resting enough. You might get a stomach ache because you ate too late. You might get a backache because you're not sitting up straight or comfortably in a nice chair, or you're never getting up and stretching in between because you're sitting for far too long. These are signs from our bodies. They're saying, dude, please don't do that. This is a boundary. And if you do that anymore, we're going to give you diarrhea. Wow. That opens a whole new can of worms, though. Okay, so when you are not feeling well, you're not in safe and social, you're in fight or flight. Wow. That's just the same as when you're sick, or when you're afraid, when you've dropped out. Yeah, okay. So, I was just thinking about how, like, as a kid, for me, I wasn't able to feel my feelings very easily, especially anything but happy. I was only allowed to have happy. Boy, I was rewarded for happy. So I did happy a lot. I got the happy face, I got the happy eyes. So I practiced and practiced and practiced in the mirror until I could make the eyes look just right so that I didn't have to deal with my mom anymore, because she was really harsh on me about my feelings. So I would hide them. And when a child is in fight or flight mode, their gut will shut down. Well, anybody, the gut shuts down, and then there's constipation. There can be, introduce a new food while you're constipated, then suddenly you have diarrhea. I was just thinking about how, like, they're correlated. It all seems to really mesh well together. This 3 tiers of life, fight or flight. Well, first, you can't. All right, let me make sure you know this too. When you find someone who is in, I'm sorry. When you find someone who is in the shutdown phase, which we have a lot of people in that right now, they're either sleeping all the time, laying around in bed all the time, disassociating, meaning they're not hanging out with anybody. They're sitting in one place, dejected, staring off. You cannot take them from this straight up into here. You have to take them up into fight or flight mode so that they can talk about their feelings and get those feelings out. They might be fighting words, they might be fearful words. They need to get that all out. You need to find out what's wrong so that you can get them back up into safe and social. There is no, there is no shortcut. You cannot bring them down here and then back up here. You've got to bring them back up into, there's no shortcut from here to here. So, try to self-regulate. Try to learn how to self-regulate. I'm learning too. It's very difficult for me. I'm in my late 40s, and I didn't know that I had the power to control my thoughts and emotions. I didn't even know I had a choice, and now I do. It is very freeing. Very. I would like to say, try to get safe and from a distance, as social as you possibly can, and keep your hopes up. Remember that we're just listening to the doctors right now, to the scientists. We're listening to the science, not all the media and gossip. Anybody who's bursting out of the doors too soon, they're going to have a really hard time through this time. People who are getting antsy and wanting to break curfew, we're not being punished. We didn't, this may look like we are getting prepared to get fleeced, and that very well may be the case. But you've got to find something to live for each day other than conspiracy theories and fear. That's not quality of life. It's not. And if you have to look at the news, I suggest you check out maybe just the CDC, look at the earthquake watch, look at the volcanoes watch, look at the fire watch, maybe National Geographic. I'm serious though. Like, try not to go for news media that is going to just choke you and inundate you with a lot of conspiracy theories, because those are what are selling right now. That's just the case. People are bored and they want sensational, they want exciting, they want creative. And I get it. That's okay. You're bored, but if it's making others unhappy or scared, you're manifesting a whole bunch of new shit. And I advise against it. So, good morning. I hope you're safe and social from a distance. And I wish you a beautiful day. Good day.